This is not a get out of jail free card to treat your husband badly. But now he knows what to do in each of my phases. I feel loved and seen and heard. And it does inspire me to love him differently and meet him where he's at because he's doing the same for me. So it stopped me from like wanting to run away from home once a month. I'm like, nobody listens. I do all the things. This house is a mess. And now there's none of that. Like we literally plan everything around my cycle.
Welcome to the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Perda. As a marriage coach who's married with 3 kids, I know how much parenthood could change a marriage. If flirting, laughing, and having fun together feels like a thing of the past, then I'm here to teach you that marriage doesn't have to feel so hard with your parents, and your marriage can thrive even when you're in the season of raising kids. Whether you're in a good place in your marriage and you just want to continue growing together, or you're wondering if you even like your spouse anymore, this podcast has something for you. Join me here each week as we dive into what it takes to help your marriage grow, and maybe even do a 180. You'll learn ways to handle conflict better, bring that spark back into your relationship, as well as learn how to improve other areas of your life from my lovely guest experts. Are you ready for the next stage of your life and marriage? Let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. So by now, if you have been listening to this show for a while, which we are like over the 200th episode now, which is like so crazy. But if you've been listening here for a while, you know I'm all about getting to know yourself better, because the more awareness we have of ourselves, the more tools we have to support our well-being, the better our life feels, because we don't have control over other people, unfortunately. But if we can know how to care for ourselves, then everything else kind of works out better. And that's why I was so excited when I first got to know Anna through a fellow mom coach, actually, Pelvic Floor Mama. If you are familiar with her, love her. She shared in a story something that Anna and her co-founder created, a little sticker, which we're going to get into later, that has changed her marriage, has changed Anna's marriage, has changed Anna's clients' marriages, and it's a sticker all about your cycle. Okay, so if you're not familiar with your cycle beyond like, oh yeah, I get it every month or so, and it's annoying, but like if that's all you know about it, ooh, you're in for a treat, because getting to know your cycle is like hitting the jackpot of all things, getting to know yourself and accepting who you are and helping your partner know, hey, guess what? This is a time for you to support me this way. And then this week is a different way. And it's just life-changing. Okay, so I'm all for all kinds of self-awareness tools. And this is like a built-in tool that if you didn't know about yourself, you're about to know a lot about once we get into this conversation. So I'm just going to cut myself off there because I'm so excited about this. But Anna, thank you so much for being a guest here. She is from this app and service called The Agenda, which she will tell you a lot about soon. But before we get into this topic of cycle syncing and how it supports our lives and even perimenopause, can you share with the listeners where you live, how old your kid is, and how did you even get to this point where you're like, yeah, let's talk more about our periods?
I will say this, it was not just easy breezy. I did not grow up this way. So you too can embrace your period. But Michelle, thank you so much for having me. I am Anna Sneed, one half of the Agenda Period. I have an 8.5-year-old daughter, and I live right outside of Dallas, Texas. And finding out that I was having a daughter was what led me down this path. My first thought was, I have 3 holes to protect, and I've got to figure out how to send her off into the world with everything that she needs to know just to be safe. Because I feel like body literacy, knowing what's happening with your body, is the first step to being safe in your body. And I wanted my little girl here in Texas to be walking the streets with that foundational knowledge of what her body is doing and how she can apply that to 10x her life. Like, it's biohacking is really what it is.
No, really?
You sync your life to your cycle. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And so becoming a girl mom is what started this whole journey for me. And deep dive into all things cyclical. And so cyclical well-being is our focus at the agenda period.
I love it. I mean, I don't know about you, but I got no background knowledge of my period and how empowering it can be to get to know it better, or
Yeah.
even like the sex talk. Didn't have any of that. It was more like, well, if we don't talk about it, it's not going to happen. Well, thank goodness for Planned Parenthood. But,
Right.
like that's who taught me how to take care of my body and be safe about things. And yeah, I didn't know anything about my holes or like anything about my cycle, like none of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrifying getting my period. I knew my mom got her period, but that was the extent of it. Like I saw it and I saw she used pads and whatever, but I didn't know when it was going to happen for me. And as my luck has it, I got it when my mom went on her honeymoon with my stepdad and I was with my dad. And I was like, what the hell is happening right
Oh my
now?
gosh.
Thank goodness my dad had a girlfriend. And so she was like, let me go get you some things at the store. Just wait here at the house. Like, oh, okay. But I didn't learn anything about the power of cycle syncing until my 30s, which is like such bullshit. So I'm very excited to have you here and have you teach all of us the power of cycle syncing so that we can all utilize it for ourselves and improve our lives, but also for us that have daughters, like my youngest is my daughter, for us to start feeling more confident and equipped to know how to have those conversations and start introducing it in layers as they get older, because mine is 5. So she knows I get my period and she knows what it means to get a period. It's like, okay, that just means that I'm not pregnant. Like my body's preparing all month to host a baby, but when I don't have a baby, it needs to get rid of that house that it's building.
I love that. I love that you're already giving her that knowledge. I mean, that's
well, yeah. I don't want her to freak out
already, right?
Yeah, I just want to normalize it. I don't want her to be like, "Oh my god, am I dying? Like, there's blood coming out of my hoo-ha. Like, what's happening?"
Exactly, and normalizing is key. Like that is one of our main missions, is to just normalize this stuff. Like the hiccups, like if you had the hiccups, it's not something in guilt and shame.
No.
It's just a normal bodily function. Everybody got here because somebody missed a period, and
that's right,
we're here.
Yeah, and even discharge. The other day she's like, what is that stuff on your underwear? And I was like, oh, it just comes out. This is normal. Like it's cleaning my body. And she's like, I don't want that. I was like, well, it's going to happen to you when you're older. So but she's 5. I'm not going to go into it more than that. So it's like, well, it's going to happen. So it's like, get used to it, girlfriend.
You get a gold star.
Yay! Oh my gosh, gold stars. That's super throwback. Okay, so tell us, first of all, for those who have zero context to their cycle other than they get it, and how to deal with it, what is the power behind our cycle?
There's so much power behind it because everybody listening knows that they're probably a different person every week, from week to week, maybe not from Sunday to Sunday, but at a week at a time, you are a different version of yourself. And this is because we are these feats of engineering where our brain, our body connection is linked in such a way that we are like fiercely efficient to do certain things. And so if you look at your body like you look at like the 4 seasons, your menstrual phase is winter time. And think about the things that you need for winter. You need soft, warm, cuddly, womb-like things. And so if you're preparing for your menstrual phase, you're preparing to not wear a bra, to wear a big old hoodie that keeps you nice and warm, to eat warming foods, because this is the lowest your body temperature is going to be all month. It drops, and then your uterine lining sheds, and you've got your menstrual phase. Then moving out of winter, we move into spring, which is your follicular phase. And so when your bleed stops, you're in your follicular phase, your inner spring. And think about the things you like to do when the weather starts getting nice. You want to get out and go and learn and be creative and kind of connect with nature. This is your follicular phase calling you to go learn. Your brain is in the perfect position this week to absorb new information. So taking a new fitness class or pottery night for date night, or just doing something different that is sparking curiosity and creativity in your brain, it locks your hormones in, and your hormones are going to love that you're doing this with your body. After spring comes summer.
Our favorite.
Yes, and this is when you're outside, and this is the warmest your body temperature is going to be all month. When it spikes, that's when you know you're in your ovulatory phase. And another indication that you're ovulating is that when you go to wipe and it feels like a slip and slide down there, the window has opened for your fertility. And it's like, here, let me grease the gears to let the sperm get there faster. And so that's where that extra discharge is. And if it's the color of uncooked milk whites, that's how you know I'm ovulating right now. So pay attention when you wipe. When it's nice and slippery down there, that's when you are ovulatory. And so this is the perfect time to be outside. This is the perfect time to drink cold things and eat cold things. And you need less calories during this time, so you may not be as hungry. And it's not just because you're so excited to be outside doing things that your body doesn't require that much of a load during your ovulatory phase. So high body temperature, high energy, this is the perfect time to ask for that raise, or, you know, that vacation you and your partner want to go on, propose that this time. You're a lot more magnetic. You're more fluent in your speech. You're as pretty as you're going to be all month, because your body's like, make a person, make a person, make a person. So leaving your inner summer, you enter autumn or fall, which is your luteal phase, and it's the longest. And so we like to break it off into beginning luteal and late luteal. So the beginning of the luteal phase, you're super strong. Like if you're in the gym, it's time to add extra weights this week because you're going to be able to lift them. You need 89 to 289 more calories during your luteal phase. So you're not binge eating, I promise. Your body just needs more calories. But think about the things you like to do in the fall, and this is where your luteal phase is. So late luteal is when your body knows, okay, I'm not making a baby and I'm very sad, and I'm going to start killing off the blood supply to your uterus that we've been building up. And so what's physically happening sends a chemical to your brain for introspection and sadness. And so maybe about day 24 of your cycle, you're going to start crying at the Bluey episodes, and, you know, thinking that you're ugly and fat and bloated and all this stuff is happening. And it's just a normal feeling, because our estrogen is our pro-social hormone. And when that drops out, then you're just sad, and I call it a little itchy and things like that. And so our app teaches you about these 4 phases instead of, hey, you can make a baby because you're fertile, or hey, your period's coming on this date. We're like, hey, go learn something, go pitch that new idea. Like when we're talking to teens, like during your ovulatory phase, we don't necessarily want teen moms. So this is the time that you should take the lead in the school project, or audition for the thing, or, you know, you're front and center during this time. And so there's different ways to kind of ride the flow of your emotions. And we're like way too jazzed about teaching people how to do this, because it changes everything, your relationship with yourself and everybody in your life.
It does. And I think after I started to look more into cycle syncing, I was like, wow, I can apply this to my business. I can apply this to my marriage,
Yes.
to me as a mom, start being more communicative about where I'm at in my cycle, which I'm so excited for the sticker, because I'm so excited to use it and just be like, okay, mama's energy is low this week, so we're going to all pitch in so that we can all get along.
Yes, exactly. Because they love you. They want to know,
Yes.
like you actually can come with a manual now. It's like,
right. It's me, not you, but
yes.
also let's be mindful, because we're all going to have our off days. But I think it's so important to start educating our partners, because I'll let you speak more about this, but basically women operate on a monthly cycle, whereas men operate on a daily cycle. So can you
Exactly.
share what the differences are so that the listeners can start to understand, oh my gosh, I have been not very compassionate towards myself and
Mhm.
judging my level of productivity and output to something that's not even what I've been built to do.
Exactly. I couldn't have said that any better because men are like the sun, they rise and set every day. If they've got healthy testosterone, it's going to spike between like 3 a.m. and 8 a.m. in the morning. And so, yeah, they wake up with morning wood. They wake up like ready to work out and go, go, go. And they can do the same thing and eat the same thing every single day because their clock resets daily. And so while they're spinning here every day, we are slowly cycling with the moon every 28 days, typically. So we are more like the moon and they're more like the sun. The entire world was created to fit into a male's circadian rhythm, which is rising with the sun. That's why we have this 9 to 5 workday. That's why happy hour exists when it does, because that's the next spike of testosterone during the day. And it drops in the evening at bedtime, bath time, and they're hiding in the bathroom on their phones because they are late luteal and they're completely bottomed out of their energy and their feel good and pro-social hormones. And so once I realized that, I'm like, okay, if I want to have a deep, meaningful conversation with my husband, I'm going to do it around 10 a.m. because his testosterone has kind of dipped a little back down. So it's not so high that he's just ready for motion and movement and action. But I know not to do it before bed because he's going to fall asleep or he's just not going to be present in the way that I need him to be. So do I feel like I'm catering to my husband and giving him excuses? No, I'm like reading the manual and understanding how the machine works so I could use it properly.
Yeah, you're setting yourself up for success.
Yes, exactly. And I'm honoring him and what his needs are, at the same time meeting my needs. It doesn't cost me anything to shift my expectation a couple of hours because that's where his energy is going to be. And I think when you love somebody, you are more than willing to meet them where they're at, right?
Absolutely. So, guys, they go to sleep and they're ready to go again the next day. Whereas for us, as Anna shared, we go through different seasons. So, week to week, whatever that week looks like to you, like I tend to have a longer cycle. So, my weeks are longer in certain
Yeah.
phases of the cycle. But when I'm in my luteal phase, I'm like, okay, Steven, like I know that I'm going to get my period soon. So, I'm just not available for a whole lot of stuff. So anything
Yeah.
extra you can do, and this is where I start talking to my kids, okay, we got to get in the rhythm of making sure we're all doing our chores. You don't get to live here and just reap the benefits. We all got to work towards contributing to how this house runs. And then, I don't put so much on my plate. I
Mhm.
lower my standards a lot. So I'm like, okay, we need to eat. I'm the resident chef because I care more about what we eat and I'm
Mhm.
a better cook.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, okay, so I'm just gonna make a bunch of lazy meals. So like I'm gonna make a big ass batch of spaghetti that we're gonna eat over the period of a couple days. And I'm gonna give myself permission to be like, you know what, kids, I don't feel like cooking. So here's some chicken nuggets.
I love it.
You know
I
what I
love
mean?
it. And my
Some
daughter
chicken
knows.
nuggets and edamame or something great,
Yes.
right?
Yes, she knows there's like a certain section of the freezer that this is when mommy's energy is low.
That's
I
right.
can ask for this gluten-free frozen pizza. Like,
That's right.
yes, because I will not feel like cooking in 3 nights. And so that's when we'll have that.
Yeah.
And teaching my daughter this and giving her this language, it's got like a twofold situation here. Like she's going to learn how to manage her energy fluctuations and her mood fluctuations, but she also knows how to offer compassion and
Mm-hmm.
support when I need it. And so she's learning how to be a loving member of society and being
Yes.
compassionate towards others. Also, it's giving her permission in the future when she does start cycling that this is something I should be doing because this is
Mm-hmm.
what was modeled for me. So
Absolutely.
I love that you're starting to normalize this already with your daughter. And I know you've got masculine energy in the house as well. And so I think my husband has appreciated this more than I have because he gets it now. The stuff that worked last week isn't going to work this week. And let me tell you why. And let me tell you what to do. And
That's
so he
right.
said, just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Yeah.
Um, so that's
And
where the sticker came from.
I love that the sticker is doing its job of like putting an end to women are crazy. They're like so different throughout the month. Like, what is up with them? Well, that's how we're supposed to be. So why don't you get on board?
Figure it out.
Figure it out.
You.
Learn with us so that you're not always surprised. Oh my gosh, my son, this is like not completely relevant, but my son, he puts the dishes away, right? And there's this one bowl that's a little bit bigger than the others. And most times it's sitting on top of different bowls. And sometimes when people put stuff away, they move that bowl onto something else so they could stack the like bowls together. But they don't move that bowl back, right? I'm one of those people. I won't lie about that. And when he puts the dishes away, he gets upset because it moves. It's not where it's supposed to be, because there really is no place just in that cabinet, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you realize you get mad about the same thing every single day? Like, if you just accept that sometimes it's not in its place, you're going to be happier. And it's like the same thing. It's like, okay, ladies, and okay, men, for those of you who are listening who want to support your wife and be the best partner you can possibly be, notice that there's a pattern with how we're behaving. Now, granted, it is a little more difficult because it is different from week to week. And like Anna said, it's not always Sunday to Sunday, right? But we still move through those phases. And sometimes we're going to be really high energy, super productive. Let's tackle all the house projects. And I got this work thing and I'm going to go see my friends. And then there's other times where it's like, we just need to sit on the couch and read and have people leave us the fuck alone. Like, because we need alone time. And so the sooner you learn that about yourself and the more you can inform your family of where you're at, because it is your responsibility, the better everyone will be because they know how to interact with you accordingly.
Yes. And you yourself too, because like you said at the start, like we weren't taught this stuff.
No.
And so I didn't have the words to tell him, my mood is low, my energy is low, my uterus is like, I didn't even know that was happening. I just knew that I could hear him blink and it made me want to murder him. Like that's all that I knew.
Which doesn't feel good when you don't know what's happening because you're like, what's wrong with me? How come he seems stable, but I am not stable right now?
Exactly. And last week I was doing 50 burpees. And this week, if you say burpee, I'm going to cry. Like there's what's wrong with me? Like I must be lazy. I'm not good at working out or I can't stick to this diet. And if you just knew that during your luteal phase to pack some extra snacks or build in an extra meal in your day, you would know, oh, my body just needs more calories right now. Don't wait to get hangry. And
that's right. I know before this, you had shared with me that your app has helped people with their marriages. And this podcast is all about helping your marriage succeed and enjoying it. Like that is the point, right? That is why you said I do. That's why you decided to have babies with this person. So can you share with us how people have been using your app and where they started and where they are at now? Let's talk through the successes that people have had by becoming more informed.
Yes. Oh, I love this. Well, the app was born out of Alex, my co-founder. She was running a health coaching business and realized that she was having like greater sales during her ovulation phase. It was like, what is this? She dug deep into that, built the app out. Around the same time, I created this little sticker, and we keep referencing the sticker. We'll definitely link it because it's been game changer, but it was this tool that was lacking in my marriage. My husband and I are very, very communicative. We talk all day long, but every month in my late luteal phase, my energy obviously dropped and my fucks decreased and my rah for his cool ideas is kind of muted. And so he comes in and he's talking to me and I'm like, cool, great. Sounds great. And his feelings were hurt. And he's like, and I was like, I'm luteal. Like, I can't deal with that. It's 9:30. Bedtime's already happened. I don't really have words left. And he was like, well, you say this every month and I don't know what it means. And I said, oh, okay. Yes. I was like, well, I'll put a sticker on the mirror and let you know. And he was like, yes, please. And I was just being my sarcastic self, and he really wanted a sticker. And so I created this little sticker, and it goes on the mirror between where we both brush our teeth. And it's got all 4 phases, and there's a little arrow that I move around as my phase changes, and it lets him know what I need, how to move my body, and what's actually happening in my body. And so fast forward, he comes in with this great idea that he's got. And I'm like, yeah, cool, bro. Yeah, whatever. Like, pass me my water. I'm ready to go to bed. And he's like, you didn't think that that was a good idea? I was like, no, I thought that was great. It was cool. It was awesome. And so he goes in the bathroom and was like, oh, you didn't move your arrow. Like, I was reading old information. That was you last week. You today does not care. And so he knows to circle back with that, or just wait till a different time during the day when I'm a little bit more receptive. And him doing that, to me, I felt so seen. I felt heard without having to say the words. And he did not feel, oh, my naggy bitchy wife, or she just doesn't care about what I'm going through. It's all about her. Like, none of those stories that we normally tell ourselves, they didn't even have any room to even sprout in our brains, because it's like, oh, this is just her energy and her mood, because this is what her body is doing. This is not a get out of jail free card to treat your husband badly or your partner badly. This is what's happening. And had I not laid the groundwork down ahead of time, then this would have been way, way less effective. But me knowing what was going on and offering a tool for him. And so I'll hear him coaching his buddies, like, dude, I think she's luteal. Like, probably take the kids to the park and see what dinner she wants you to bring home. And like, so now he knows what to do in each of my phases. I feel loved and seen and heard. And it does inspire me to love him differently and meet him where he's at, because he's doing the same for me. So it stopped me from like wanting to run away from home once a month. I'm like, nobody listens. I do all the things. This house is a mess. And now there's none of that. Like, we literally plan everything around my cycle.
Yeah. I think that most wives can be like, I say those exact things every month. And having that light bulb go off, like, I can just see it now. Like, as soon as people listen to this, like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm hurt. And yes, hello, like, this is very normal, right? During your luteal phase, correct me if I'm wrong, Anna, because you're the expert here, but during your luteal phase, that's a time where all the things that you've been pushing down because you've been too busy to be reflective on, oh, I think I need a boundary there. That's not okay with me, because distractions, squirrel, kids, responsibilities, whatever, right? But when you're in your luteal phase, that stuff comes up to the surface because you have a less capacity to deal with it. And so your frustrations are going to be more easily triggered. And that's where introspection is so important, because then you can have those powerful conversations when you feel better. Okay, not when you're like super frustrated or anything. Let's set ourselves up for success. But like, that's when you're like, oh, I keep getting really angry around this time. Is there a boundary I need to set? Is there something I need to communicate? Is there a need that I need to express? Let's look into that. Let's support ourselves. And I love that you have this arrow pointing to what phase you're in your cycle, because then you don't have those situations where your spouse is going to get hurt, internalize it, and create resentment, because resentment is a nasty weed that grows so fast if you don't deal with it.
Yeah.
But having this self-awareness tool, it's like, oh, I don't need to take it personally. She literally doesn't have the capacity for this right now. It's not that she doesn't want to be there for me, because just last week she was all about it. She was so hyped up. She wanted to know more. She wanted to help me plan it and da-da-da-da. And today she's just not there anymore. Okay. Again, just like any self-awareness tool is so powerful, this is so good to start communicating with your partner, because then it's like, ooh, I have something I really want to talk to her about, and it can wait. And now is not the good time for that. Like, if I want to have the best version of her, who's super open-minded and collaborative, now is not the time for that.
It isn't. And I love that you mentioned boundaries because you're right. The stuff that's bothering you in your late luteal phase is where you have a loose boundary in your other phases. Because when you're follicular, when it's spring and summer, you're not thinking about the completion and the task. You're not thinking about that. So that stuff doesn't bother you. It doesn't matter if the cap is left off the toothpaste because you're going outside. You're in your bikini going to the beach. None of that stuff matters. And so just think of the attitude you have when you're on vacation. You're not really bothered by things.
It's
But
like the
then,
don't worry, be happy kind of mood.
yes, you're on island time. You're just the vibes are immaculate. But then think about like missing 3 flights. It's the end of your vacation, and that's your late luteal phase, and every little thing is going to bother you if you did not have those firm boundaries in the other phases. And so Alex and I, my co-founder, we have a phrase, we say we're going to bleed on it. We don't sleep on it. There's a big decision to make. We meditate on it, journal about it, think about it, sit with it on our bleed, because we are literally like a portal of life during your menstrual phase. And you'll see that you just really want to kind of go within. If you're a doodler or, an artistic person, this is the time that it kind of feels like, wow, I'm getting a lot of inspiration. So it's good to keep a journal near you when you are in your menstrual phase. But yeah, if it's like World War III in your luteal phase, bleed on it in your menstrual phase, and talk about it in your follicular phase, because you're going to be a little nicer, but you've taken that time to process it. And I used to hate my luteal phase, the PMS, because that was everybody's like go-to. Oh, you must be PMSing, or you're on your period. And I used to not like that version of myself, but now that I've realized that, now that I've shored up my boundaries in those other phases, I love my luteal self because she is task oriented. She's going to clean out the pantry, get the kids' donation pile set, and, make 3 freezer meals for the lady who just lost her husband. Like, she's going to do all of those things. And it's going to feel fun, and she's going to be hyper focused, and she's going to be super honest without being emotionally tied to the outcome of situations. So she's like a force. And I feel like perimenopause is like an extended luteal phase. Like, your filter's lowered and you are not about that bullshit now. Like,
no. I love older women because of that. They're just like, I am not available for that. Just like absolutely zero fucks given. I'm going to say what I want to say. And I'm like, damn, that's amazing.
That old Black lady from get someone else to do it. She is the mother of menopause. Like, get someone else to do it. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not here for that anymore. I'm definitely not available for that. And you don't feel the guilt and the people pleasing that you felt in your 20s and 30s. So
yeah, and hopefully we're changing away from that with how we're parenting our kids now and being more aware of the impact of our words and our actions. And teaching them about our cycle is a perfect way to do that if you have daughters, or even talking about it with your sons as well. Okay. Like, I have started talking about it with my son because he's of the age where girls are going to start having their periods, right? He's almost 9. So I know it's kind of like the age of getting your period has kind of lowered, which is crazy. And like, I need him to know this is normal. It's not something to make fun of a girl about. If you see someone have blood in the back of their pants, give them your sweater, or, go get help. Like, don't make it a thing, but like, help her be more comfortable. I've even seen posts on Instagram where it was like, teach your son to do these things, and then teach your daughter to carry a period pack in her backpack at all times. So when she gets her first period and she's not with you, just because that's how shit happens, right? She's prepared. She's not going to freak out. She has an extra pair of pants in her backpack. She's got a pad or whatever and some wipes, and she could like discreetly take care of it in the bathroom without going full-blown panic attack and feeling embarrassed. Like, well, this is okay.
I'm prepared.
I'm becoming more of an adult female now. And,
yes, my body can do different things now, and I have to care for it in other ways. And the fear completely is diminished when you know what to expect and you're prepared to manage anything in life. You're less fearful of it.
It's like fire drill. Okay, stop, drop, and roll. Cool. Let's do this for your period. Like,
And there's
what's going to
nothing
happen.
worse than sending a vulnerable little girl into the world ill prepared. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is like one of my biggest fears, is that I'm not preparing my daughter for the realities of life, and not scaring her, but just
Mm-hmm.
preparing her. Like I use a menstrual disc, and so she can see
Same.
the amount of blood, and I show her how I care for my hygiene during that time. And
Mm-hmm.
because these are, valuable tools that our daughters need to know and understand, and our sons as well. Because again, him having this knowledge at 9, like what type of partner is he going to be to somebody with this just being a normal thing?
Exactly. Hopefully a
Like if somebody
fantastic
got a
one.
bloody nose, would you know how to help them? Well, you would get them tissue. You wouldn't make fun of them. Like this is just another bodily function.
Right.
And yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So, how have you been using this to help you show up as more of the mom that you want to be, knowing that your energy levels vary, knowing that your kids, or at least my kids, I mean, they're very self centered, as they should be at this age, right? But
Mhm.
most times they don't really give a shit about how you're doing or how you feel or what you're available for, because what they
Exactly.
want is what they want and they want it when they want it.
They
So,
do. They do.
how has your cycle helped you to be more of that mom that you want to be?
Well, I homeschool, and so our curriculum is even synced to my cycle.
Oh,
So
amazing.
when I'm during on my menstrual phase, we are not going out on play dates where I have to like sit on a bench and talk to some
Oh my
random mom
goodness.
that I'm not like. No, we do more inside things like Legos on the floor and manipulatives in bed and worksheets and reading and soft things, and like it's very apparent that my energy is low and I'm uncomfortable, and I need her to know what to do with herself when she's got low
Mm-hmm.
energy and she's uncomfortable. I don't want her hustling and grinding through
Pushing.
either.
Yep.
So, yeah, we homeschool according to my, I know that sounds it's a very privileged situation. I work from home, and so I'm able to do that. But even when I'm coaching my clients about how to make this fit, if you're in corporate America, you've got a 9 to 5, there are certain tweaks that you can do. And so with my parenting, I just make sure that I'm talking, like kind of narrating my life with my
Mm-hmm.
daughter. Like when we're getting ready, I say, oh, I'm going to pack some period underwear because my, you see how big mommy's tummy is? Like that's my uterus. It's
Mm-hmm.
just filling up. And so I think my
Growing.
period's
Yeah.
coming any moment. So I'm going to make sure I pack these, and I just kind of narrate what I'm doing. And because she's doing still imaginative play, she plays with her dolls and she does things, and I can hear her repeating my words. And so if you can repeat something somebody else has told you, you kind of know it. And so
Yeah.
that has really helped by kind of like narrating the things that I'm doing and explaining why. Um, and just normalizing the conversation and making sure that she knows the real names of her body parts. Like we don't have
Oh,
a hoo-hoo and a
yes.
cookie and a,
Got a
I
vulva?
mean, yes, this is your vulva. And if your vulva itches, that's different than if your vagina itches. So
Yes.
you like, I need you to know the difference of those two, because when we go to the doctor now, she talks to the doctor about her body, and I want her to know the proper terminology. Um, and so just everything is just kind of is just normalized. Like, mommy, why is that? Well, because blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay. And we say all the time, the best time to talk to your kids about this stuff is before they're embarrassed. Like,
Yes.
like 4 and 5 year olds are shaking their butt and they're walking around the house naked. They're not self-conscious, and they're not weirded out about body parts and farting and stuff like that. They love all that stuff. So there's not a time that's too early to discuss this with your kids, but I guess the appropriateness of how you're delivering it can vary by age. Like my daughter's 8 and a half, and she just asked me about how babies were made. And so I probably took the long route because I wanted to explain everything, but she came to me. So that means she's ready to hear the answer. So that's another way to know how to normalize this. When they come and ask you questions, you need to be prepared to give them an answer. And if it's like, you know what, I'm going to find a really good way to tell you that, because this is kind of an awkward conversation. So I'm going to find the best words and we'll talk about it at bedtime, and give them a time that you'll return back to it. And again, that normalizes it. If it was anything, if it was, hey, can we go to Disney? I'm going to get back to you and I'll talk to you about that later, is a completely appropriate way. And then Google all the things, ask ChatGPT how to say it, or I don't know, message me. I'll tell you what I told my kid. But yeah, with parenting, it's just normalizing the crap out of everything. There's nothing she can't ask me about. And I will tell her, oh, this makes mommy a little uncomfortable to talk to you about, but we're going to do it. This is the first time that we've had this conversation. So if I mess it up, then I'll come back and tell you what I messed up. And it was just like this easy breezy conversation, like we would talk about anything. And I did kind of die a little inside, but
I know when they make that transition to, you're like, oh, dang, you are definitely getting older.
yes.
And we're going to be going into uncharted territories. Like, I get it. Like, my oldest is 15, and there are conversations that need to be had that I don't want to have, but are important to have. Like relationships, like, you know, self-discovery in all kinds of ways, and friendships, and very real consequential things happening in his life right now. And so
he needs those tools in his tool belt. Like, he needs you to give him the tools. And so we wrote body literacy for elementary, middle, and high school. And because the states by law are supposed to be teaching this stuff, and we know that they're not. And so teaching consent to fourth and fifth graders, and also teaching consent to high schoolers. The verbiage is different. But we do a little activity in our curriculum where I like walk up and I snatch my daughter's iPad. I'm like, did you say I could have that? No. How did that make you feel? It made me, disrespected. It made me feel sad. It made me, And then what if I say, I'm going to take your iPad, and I take it? Did you give me consent? Did you give me permission? And so we go through all the different ways I could have taken her iPad from her to teach her consent. And then high school, of course, we're talking about different things in different languages. But there's just ways to appropriately address these very vital conversations that you have to have.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm having those conversations with my 5-year-old daily, because she doesn't understand the impact of her words yet. And when she gets mad, she gets real mad. And so we have been talking about, honoring people's wishes and respecting them. It's like, well, what if I did that to you? Would you like that? I think you would be screaming at me. So let's be careful of how we treat other people. When people say they don't like what you're doing to them, then let's listen the first time and not keep doing it. Like, what if I said, I'm going to tickle you and you tell me to stop? But I'm like, well, I'm having fun. I'm going to keep tickling you. Does it matter that I'm having fun? No, it does not matter if I'm having fun. I need to stop.
Body boundaries.
That's right. And so we've been teaching her, like, your body, your choice, except for when it comes to hygiene. Like, you got to shower when we tell you to shower. Otherwise, your body, your choice. And teaching, our boys that too, like, hey, if you want to play with someone and they don't, doesn't matter if you want to, because that translates later on too, right? It's like, if some girl is not into it, or she said she was into it and she changes her mind, I don't give a shit if you're having fun. You're going to stop.
Yeah, you lose that round. And I love it. Yeah, it's so important. We need more compassionate people in the world. We just do. And when you know what somebody else is going through, that's the only way you can open up and be compassionate about what they're going through and offer support. And again, for our daughters to know, this is how my mom supports herself. This is how I will. I'm watching my dad support my mom through this. This is my level of expectation now. Like, I'm not going to be dealing with a little fucker who makes me feel ashamed about what my body is doing, and my body can bring forth life into the world. Like, are you kidding me?
Like, without us, there would be no world, right? Like, there would be no human population. So,
oh my gosh. So we think that education is completely key to safety, body literacy, and to normalize this. And you can't be the best version of yourself if you don't know what the hell is happening with your body in the first place. And then tapping into that and making it work for you. Like, our app syncs to your Google Calendar. So when we are planning anything personally,
I saw that. I was so happy. I was like, what is this? This is amazing. Because I live off my calendar. I will literally
Yes.
forget what to do if I didn't have my calendar.
Yes, if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't happen. And so when we're planning, hey, Auntie so-and-so wants us to come over for barbecue, I'm going to be late luteal then, and Auntie so-and-so gets on my nerves. So you don't want me around her during that week, I promise. So I will come up with an excuse, or you guys can go without me. And again, he does not want me there miserable. This is not like an excuse for me to go lay up and eat bonbons. This is me knowing my body. You would prepare for a Denver ski vacation differently than a Cancun beach vacation. You would prepare differently. You would pack different things. This is just what you need to pack each week as you're shifting through your phases. And it's a beautiful thing, what we can do. And what I did last week, I can't do this week because this week I'm doing this. And it's just amazing. And this is how the species has been perpetuated, because our ancestors knew how to tap into this energy and what to do with it. We've lost it along the way, but we're all about reclamation. And
that's right.
Yeah.
I love that you're bringing it back for that wisdom. Okay. So Anna, I could literally talk about this with you forever. And so I want to make sure that I'm respecting the listeners' times, because I know, mamas, you got things to do. But hopefully you're walking away from this episode feeling empowered to get to know your cycle more. And we're curious to go download the app called The Agenda. But Anna, can you share with us, where can people connect with you? Where can they find the app? And what is the best way to really get the most out of using your services?
Oh, lovely. We are The Agenda Period everywhere. On Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're all the places we're The Agenda Period, www.theagendaperiod. You can download the app from our website. We've got links all over our Instagram. If you have any questions about things that I've said here today, message me on Instagram. It'll be me. We're just a scrappy little startup, so I will be the one that responds, or Alex, my co-founder. But if you're listening today and some of this stuff is like, okay, I've got to figure that out, we've got a free little period planning guide. Will you link that in the show notes?
Absolutely.
And you can download that? And a perimenopause planning guide. So for all my peri girls out there, we've got a guide just for you. We've got a period planning guide, and they're free to download. And it kind of gets your foot in the door with all the things on the app and the sticker and all the things that we've discussed. So yeah.
Amazing. I am now an affiliate for the amazing sticker. So for those who are watching on YouTube, can you just briefly hold up how incredible the sticker is?
Look, she's super cute.
Look at that.
There's a little arrow that goes right there, and it's a window cling, so it comes on and off. It's so cute.
Yeah. And it's so helpful, because if you're like me, you're like, wait a minute, what do I do during this phase? It's literally right there. You put it on your bathroom mirror every morning, okay, this is where I'm at. And if you combine it with the app, it's you can't go wrong. You already know what phase you're in, because the app is telling you, and you can just take a look at the sticker and be like, okay, these are the things that I need to do and be conscious of. And your husband doesn't need to have a conversation with you about it. He can just glance over and be like, got it. Yes. Mental note taken.
So if kids, anyone that comes in there.
Anybody. So if you're interested in that, go check out the link in the show notes, grab that sticker, or even take a snapshot of you with it and tag The Agenda Period. I'm sure they'd love to see who's using it and how you're using it.
We love it.
And yeah, if you have loved this episode, go connect with Anna, go check out her app, buy the sticker, and start helping yourself navigate through this craziness of womanhood more empowered, because that's all we want for you, right? We want you more empowered. We want you in a happy marriage. We want you to feel good as a mother. And if you know anyone that could benefit from this episode, please share it. Whether you just link this episode, or you upload this as a story in your Instagram and tag us so we know that you're shouting us out. And that's it for this episode. Thank you so much, Anna, for being a part of the show and sharing all your wisdom and support for all of womankind. Mm-hmm. And I will catch you all on the next episode. Bye.
Thanks for having. Bye, y'all.
That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did, please send me a message over on Instagram at Michelle Perta Coaching to let me know what you loved most about it. Hearing from my listeners is my absolute favorite. And if you've been loving this podcast, please leave a rating and review. This will help people like you find the show and get the help they need. Catch you here on the next episode. Bye.